The ghost in the machine. You're at a dinner party. Laughter clatters like cutlery. Someone mentions climate change. Another defends crypto. You nod, sip wine, and recite opinions you absorbed from a podcast you half heard while doom scrolling. The conversation shifts to parenting. A voice inside you whispers, "You'd be a terrible mother. Better to stay silent." So you do. This is avoidance, not the dramatic kind where you flee a burning building, but the slow, invisible kind where you flee yourself. Jordan Peterson's critics accuse him of oversimplifying with "clean your room," but they miss the fractal horror beneath it. Avoidance isn't an action, it's an identity. Every time you dodge a difficult truth, you don't just postpone a task, you mutate. Your brain rewires to treat cowardice as pragmatism. Your soul calluses over. You become a ghost, haunting a life you refuse to fully inhabit. The neurology of self-betrayal. Let's dissect the carnage. When you avoid conflict, your brain doesn't record it as a wise choice. It logs it as evidence. Evidence that you're fragile, that the world is too dangerous for honesty, that you must stay small to survive. Neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to rewire itself, isn't a self-help buzzword. It's a guillotine. Each act of avoidance strengthens neural pathways that equate safety with silence. Soon, you don't just avoid hard conversations, you avoid thinking about them. Your inner monologue becomes a PR firm, spinning every cowardice into self-care or boundaries. Studies on cognitive dissonance reveal the poison here. When your actions conflict with your values, the brain doesn't resolve the tension. It murders the values. You don't just fail to speak up about injustice. You start believing it's not your problem. You don't just skip the gym. You decide fitness is a capitalist scam. This is how ideologies metastasize, how gentle liberals become authoritarian allies, how libertarians morph into conspiracy peddlers. Avoidance isn't passive, it's alchemical. It transmutes your unmet potential into fanaticism. The social contagion now. Zoom out. Every avoided responsibility doesn't vanish. It pools in the cultural groundwater. Watch the patterns. Politics as therapy. Movements like toxic positivity activism, where societal change becomes a proxy for personal growth. Post a black square on Instagram, scream ACAB, and feel absolved of examining your own racism. Relationships as distraction. Swipe right culture, where endless options let you avoid the terrifying work of loving one imperfect human. Conspiracy as coping. QAnon isn't just madness. It's the scream of souls desperate to blame shadowy elites rather than face their own complicity in a broken system. Aldous Huxley's Brave New World was wrong about Soma. We didn't need pills to stay docile. We have Instagram stories. The data chills. A 23 study found that 58% of Gen Z experiences commitment phobia toward careers, relationships, even hobbies. Why? Unspoken terror of the self-examination commitment demands. Better to float in Schrodinger's potential, always one pivot away from greatness, never risking proof of your limitations. The marketplace of avoidance, capitalism, smelled blood. Every skipped responsibility is a product waiting to be sold. Therapy, apps, $10 a month to vent to an AI chatbot that rubber stamps your victimhood. Wellness influencers, 200 self-love courses teaching you to release shame. Read, avoid accountability. Hustle culture, grind set, gurus selling the lie that 80-hour weeks will distract you from your dying father's voicemails. Even religion has been commodified. Modern spirituality, a $40 billion industry that peddles manifestation and karmic alignment as ways to bypass the hard truth. You don't need the universe to conspire in your favor. You need to conspire against your own excuses. Jean-Paul Sartre called this magical thinking, the desperate belief that wishes can alter reality without action. But today it's not magic. It's a business model. The body keeps score. Avoidance isn't metaphysical. It's cellular. Research on psychosomatics reveals the body's revolt. Chronic procrastinators show elevated cortisol levels akin to PTSD sufferers. People who avoid difficult conversations develop literal constrictions, TMJ, hunched shoulders, shallow breathing. The CDC now links deaths of despair, suicides, overdoses not to poverty but to perceived futility, the bone-deep belief that effort no longer matters. Your liver doesn't care if you blame capitalism for your drinking. Your pancreas won't accept generational trauma as an excuse for neglecting diabetes. Biology is the last bastion of truth in a post-truth world. The unseen war. Here's the silent Holocaust. No one discusses. Every time you avoid responsibility, you don't just harm yourself. You draft others into your war. The partner who tolerates your emotional unavailability becomes codependent. The friend who listens to your 47th excuse for not job hunting grows resentful. The child who watches you blame the system for your inertia learns helplessness as gospel. This is Douglas Murray's madness of crowds in microcosm. Societal collapse isn't caused by extremists. It's fueled by ordinary people outsourcing their agency, one tiny betrayal at a time. The cliffhanger, but the most vicious consequence remains unspoken. Avoidance doesn't just rot your present, it colonizes your future. Neural pathways solidify. The window for change narrows. One day you wake up not at 3:17 a.m., but at high noon, in a life so alien to your potential that suicide, literal or spiritual, feels inevitable. Yet, here's the twisted hope. Your despair is proof. Proof that the part of you still capable of greatness recognizes the theft. That your soul still screams against the slow asphyxiation of avoidance. But how do you resuscitate a self you've suffocated for decades? The answer lies in a forbidden truth, one that inverts everything you've been taught about trauma, power, and human nature. A truth so explosive it can only be revealed